application of infrared, visible light, and ultraviolet light. The Philippines now is facing this very alarming pandemic known as COVID-19. One of the ways on how to detect the symptoms of this disease is the use of thermal scanners that use infrared radiation. Infrared radiation lies beyond the red end of the visible light. It is emitted by all objects. The amount and wavelength of radiation depend on temperature. Our bodies radiate infrared, and under infrared camera or a night vision goggle, our images appear in variety of colors. The differences in color determine the differences in temperature. For example, shades of blue and green indicate regions of colder temperature, and red and yellow indicate warmer temperature. Infrared waves are in the lower middle range of frequencies in the EM spectrum. The size of the infrared waves ranges from a few millimeters down to a microscopic length. Infrared radiation lies beyond the red end of the visible light. The longer wavelength infrared waves produce heat. These include radiation emitted by fire, the sun, and the other heat-producing objects. Shorter wavelength infrared rays do not produce much heat and are used in remote controls and imaging technologies. The human eye is not sensitive to the infrared light used by television remote controls. To send a signal to a television, remote controls often use diode that emits light. Some digital cameras have filters to block the near-infrared light, but most can detect it. It shows up on the screen as if it were visible light. When you press a button on the remote control, the camera may show a pulsing light emitted by the remote. The following are other useful applications of infrared radiation. 1. Infrared photographs taken from a satellite with special films provide useful details of the vegetation on the Earth's surface. 2. Infrared camera has transmitter that sends out infrared pulses. And number 3. A night vision goggle. The visible light shares the thinnest slice in the electromagnetic spectrum. It is the only EM wave perceived by the human eyes. If not because of this visible light, we will not be able to see the beauty of our surroundings, much less appreciate it. Visible light or white light, like that of the sunlight, is made up of a variety that when it passes through a prism, it is separated into its constituent colors: the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Though this color travels at the same speed, they come in different wavelengths. From red to violet, the colors come in decreasing wavelength. Red has the longest wavelength and violet has the shortest. The table shows the wavelengths of the different colors that constitute the white light. Our eyes are sensitive to the range of wavelengths of white light, reason why we can see it. Thus, the spectrum of white light is called the visible spectrum. Visible light is essential for photosynthesis, which is the process by which green plant makes food. Forms of energy taken from the sun used by plants and microorganisms million years ago are locked up in coal and oil used as energy resources today. A luminous object can also be made to give off energy in the form of light. A luminous object can produce incandescent light, fluorescent light, and neon light. The sun is the main source of energy of the Earth. It is also the main source of ultraviolet radiation, though some are made artificially. Ultraviolet radiation lies just beyond the violet end of the visible spectrum. These waves have shorter wavelengths than the visible light and carry more energy. The sun is our main source of ultraviolet radiation, but there are also artificial sources of UV light. Ultraviolet radiation in UV lamps are used by banks to check the signature on a passbook. The signature is marked on the passbook with fluorescent ink. It becomes visible when viewed under a UV lamp. These lamps are also used to identify fake banknotes. UV radiation is also used in sterilizing water from drinking fountains. Some washing powder also contains fluorescent chemicals which glow in sunlight. This makes your shirt look whiter than white light in daylight. UV radiation in sunlight produces vitamin D in the skin and gives us tanning effect. And that's all for this week. Thank you for watching.
Kick.